the cup and the league all to be won. Everyone knows there's a job to be done, and with a team so fine, I'm proud they're mine. We'll be singing this song. For real bars of family athletic, and now we are on song. For real bars of family athletic, and we'll go marching on.
The Dunfermline Athletic Former Players Association podcast is sponsored by Starnut Apparel. Affordable and stylish clothing born on the terraces. Just head to www.starnutapparel.co.uk.
Welcome to Walking Down the Holbeath Road, the podcast brought to you by the Dunfermline Athletic Former Players Association. This is where we delve into the rich history of Dunfermline Athletic Football Club. I'm your host Mikey Motkiewicz, and together we'll embark on a nostalgic journey through the memories, triumphs with Dunfermline Athletics former players and coaches. From the glory days of yesteryear to the unforgettable moments etched in our club's football history, we'll sit down with the legends who graced the hallowed turf at East End Park, sharing their insights, stories and reflections on their time wearing the black and white stripes. Whether it's reminiscing about iconic matches, teammates or revealing untold dressing room tales, Walking Down the Holbeath Road promises to be a captivating trip for fans old and new. In this latest episode, we speak to a club legend from the 1960s, Alex Smith. A local boy from Rosyth, he would sign for the club in 1958 for just £83, spending 8 seasons at East End Park, making 310 appearances and scoring an incredible 98 goals, which is the 4th highest in the club's history. In this podcast, we hear all about his time in the game, learning from Jock Stein, playing European football, winning the Scottish Cup, and coming up against German football legend Franz Beckenbauer. So grab your scarf as we walk down the Holbeath Road with Alex Smith. Alex, thanks for joining us on the latest podcast. How's life treating you?
Oh, it's fine, and no complaints. Still running along. Seeing a football match on a Saturday.
Because you still go to East End Park, don't you?
I do. The home game.
What's your thoughts on football today compared to when you played?
I suppose they're fitter and faster.
Do you think you could have played nowadays? Would your game have suited football, how it's played today?
Well, I wasn't a quick player, so I got struggled a bit. But
to get us going, I'm going to ask you some 5 quick-fire questions. So the first one, what's your favourite song of all time? You were saying you like ABBA, don't you?
Any ABBA's ones.
Who was your best friend in football? Who were you close to when you played?
Well, a boy called Jimmy Thompson. He played for Dunfermline. I was pretty close to Jimmy, age-wise, and Saturday night would meet for a pint after the game.
Go out for a wee dance?
Well,
where was your favourite holiday destination? Where did you like?
Anywhere in Spain.
Spain.
It was popular, always been popular.
Who was your favourite team growing up? Who did you support as a kid?
Who did I support as a kid? Well, I've got to say, local teams. I was brought up in Rosyth. So, the 5 teams, Dunfermline, the Rovers, East 5.
We'll go with Dunfermline for that answer. You worked in the pub trade for a long time. What was your favourite tipple? What did you like a wee drink of?
Oh, a pint of beer, pint of ale.
So we'll get going. Your early life, born in December 1940.
That's
you,
right.
You mentioned Rosyth there. So tell us a little bit about your childhood and your memories of growing up in Rosyth.
Well, Rosyth, if you were brought up in Rosyth, it was a large English community because of the dockyard. So we played cricket in the summertime, golf, all round us, football. So he had a shot at everything.
Was that a good place to grow up?
It was. The facilities were there. Playing areas.
It's not like nowadays. You don't see kids out playing anymore, do you?
No.
Totally different.
Aye.
And what's your memories of playing football as a kid? What was your kind of pathway and what teams did you play for?
There was a local team under 18 with Derby, Versailles, Thistle, juveniles. So I started off with them and got into with Dunfermline and Rangers and away to Aberdeen for a couple of years.
So how did the link with Dunfermline come about? Can you remember how you got scouted or how you ended up joining Dunfermline?
I had the manager came down to my house in Versailles and introduced himself, and I got training there with I think they were a part-time club at that time, so it would be twice a week going up.
How old are you at this point?
Well, that would be about 17.
Yeah, so you're still in your
You
teens.
couldn't sign professionally until you were 18, I think it was.
Right. And I'm right in saying it was Andy Dixon who signed you.
That's right. It was.
So what was Andy Dixon like?
Well done. He,
Told you I'll keep you right.
aye, he was a good lad, too honest and quiet to be a manager. He was promoted from trainer to manager, assigned for Andy Dixon. He was prior to Jock Stein.
Of course. And do you remember how much they paid for you from Dunbar United?
Oh, I think it was a junior signing at that time was about 80 quid.
£83.
80 quid,
Not bad, eh?
was it?
A bargain.
You got information there.
I have.
Aye. Yeah, just...
I've researched. And do you remember much about your debut, which was in September 1958?
I remember that. The game was called off.
It was. What do you remember about that game?
Well, it was pissing the rain and the place was getting waterlogged. The ball was sticking in the pitch. It was a local derby. It was race over.
It was. You're right. Spot on.
My goodness.
Spot on.
My memory's all right.
I told you, you'll be all right once we get warmed up. And then you mentioned him, Jock Stein comes in. So what was it like when Jock arrived at the club? What was the change?
Well, he just had that aura about coming for Glasgow and Celtic.
What
You lived in fear of him, but respectful. And
What was your relationship like with Jock? Did you get on really well with him?
oh, fine. Aye, just you had to keep control of the players. Sometimes getting a wee bit daft at the weekends and things like that. But you had a fear of him.
Yeah, a bit of respect.
Aye, you did.
And then 1961, Scottish Cup.
Aye, 61.
Do you remember the celebrations and being in the bus, going down the high street?
It was. That's right, exactly. And being up on the podium there at that town clock, it was a big day for Dunfermline.
What did that mean to you as a local boy?
It did. It was proud to be associated with a football club. And,
You were only 20 years old
20,
when you won the cup.
Aye.
And then after that, Jock Stein gets the club going. We
He
started
did.
playing in Europe.
He did. Joe got the team in Europe and into the sort of glory days. He did well.
Is there any games in Europe that stand out for you in those early 60s?
Just there were a few. That was Valencia, I suppose, the Spanish side. Ushbes, those Hungarians. Hungarians were the top notchers at that time. Puskás and all the boys.
What was it like going abroad? Because I'd imagine before that you'd probably never been on an aeroplane, eh?
That's right. It was. Well, we did some trips abroad, playing in different countries. Great, playing against different players.
You got 5 goals in Europe for Dunfermline.
5 goals, my goodness.
Do you remember any of the opposition you scored against?
I can't mind scoring goals.
So you scored against Vardar,
Vardar scored.
Juž Pestoza,
Oh, so I scored.
Valencia,
Oh, yeah.
and you got 2 against Atletico Bilbao.
Well, that's his teams. Aye. Oh, aye.
No many people get 5 goals for Dunfermline in Europe.
No, that's right.
Brilliant. And what about teammates? Who was in and around the dressing room round about that time?
Aye. That's what, Christ almighty.
What about the Callaghan brothers and John Lunn?
Well,
Berry Payton.
they were younger boys. That was the young folk coming in. Who was the established boys at that time?
Geordie Peebles.
You're talking about Harry Melrose, George Peebles, Charlie Dixon, rather than the Callaghans who were younger. They'll be 5 years younger than me. Sinclair, Edwards, they were the younger boys.
And Jock Stein was quite big on bringing local boys through, wasn't he? He wasn't scared to play local boys.
Jock had the magic touch. He didn't stay long enough. He got the chance to go to Hibs and then on to Celtic.
Was he the best manager you worked for?
Oh, well, he was the most successful. Aye. But I had good lads. The local boy at that time that signed me was Andy Dixon. He was a local man, the trainer. Then he got promoted to the manager's job. Then I was with Eddie Turnbull at Aberdeen. Good manager.
Was he a good manager?
Aye, good. Eddie.
Was he a hard manager?
Well, he was kind of.
We are Flow Digital Pharmacy, and we are proud to sponsor the Walking Down the Holbeath Road podcast. Our easy-to-use app is a convenient way to access your NHS prescription medication, and our team of trained pharmacists are helping thousands of people to access the support and medication they need. If you're registered with a GP who's based in England, you can use the Flow app to securely and conveniently send them NHS medication requests and arrange delivery to a location of your choice at a time that suits you. This means you can avoid the hassle of contacting your GP and making unnecessary round trips to eventually collect your prescription. Find out more at We Are Flow, spelled PHLO. That's weareflow.com.
And then, well, you mentioned it earlier, Jock Stein goes to Hibs 64. And Willie Cunningham takes over, your teammate.
Right.
So what was Willie like?
Willie was, he was a strict lad, Willie. He had been a player there, so it was hard for him to take over as manager from playing. But Willie, typical Northern, typical Irishman, he did well for Dunfermline.
He did.
Willie.
Season 65, we mentioned it before, we got to the Cup Final 65, and we nearly won the league, didn't we?
That's right.
That season. We come so close, didn't we?
That was good managers there, really.
See, when Willie Cunningham took over, did he basically just keep the way it was? It didn't change too much because what Jock was doing was working?
That's right. He had the same players, the same personnel, just didn't change anything too much. Get on with it and let them loose. Willie.
What was training like for you guys?
Always had this training ground just down the road there, Crossgates. So it was out to Crossgates most days. Put through your paces and
a lot of running.
It was a bit plain as well. I just broke it up nicely to the running and then get a game at the finish.
So in 1966 you leave Dunfermline and go to Rangers.
66.
So just talking on reflection, your time at Dunfermline, 8 years at the club. You played 310 games, scored 98 goals. Is there any games or goals that stand out for you that you can remember?
Well, playing against these teams you're talking about, Valencia, Uzbekistan, I sort of remember we were playing in Budapest, and that's where what was on the stars there, and the Hungarian side, Puskás, and we played with Pestos, I think that was his club. And I remember a cross coming and to the 18-yard line, and I just hit it first time. The goalie, not hours after all, I think goal scorer, but the goalie just bent his knees and it was right in the top corner. So I never forgot that.
You said you didn't score goals, but you got 98.
That's right. So I always say to myself, I was on that pitch that Ferenc Puskás played on. I says, that was a privilege to
You'll never
it was
forget
a
that.
monolith stadium, and there was hardly anybody there. Well, they were swamped to the size of the place, but I had that thing connected.
Brilliant. Is there any dressing room stories that you can remember? Any funny stories?
They always had the comedy boys, but I can't mind what they were talking about. They're always taking the piss out of somebody, and just a general happy.
Camaraderie.
Aye. That's the word, camaraderie.
Who would you say was the best player you played with at Dunfermline?
I've got to say the most popular man would be Charlie Dixon. Charlie, he wasn't the best football player in the world, but if somebody fired the ball up to Charlie, he'd chase everything. So possibly Charlie Dixon.
Good choice, Alex. Who was the best player you played against? Who used to give you real problems?
Anybody that could run fast. He was very, somebody with pace against you.
Some of the Rangers Celtic boys back then would have been quick players.
They were.
And what about your memories of the old East End Park?
East End Park.
What was it like playing at East End?
It was good when we played these European teams. Always a great atmosphere. Clubs for Spain, Portugal, Germany, the Germans. Oh, that's it. I'm sure I played against Franz Beckenbauer.
Oh, we played against Borussia Dortmund.
Well, the Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, we played against Dortmund.
And we played against
Stuttgart.
No, what was... And Bayern. Sure I played
But that's when you were at the Rangers.
That's right.
Talking about Rangers, you're age 25, 1966. Glasgow Rangers come in for you for a Scottish record fee of 51,000.
51,000.
So did you have other clubs looking at you at that point as well?
No, I don't think so. Prior to being a professional with Dunfermline, I went down to Sunderland for a trial. The boy, the manager at that time, I forget who it was, wanted me to sign, but I came home.
Did you get a wee bit homesick?
Well, I said, can my mother come with me? As my father would say, you need to take your mum with you if you're going away down to Sunderland. So no, that just fell through. What side from Dunfermline?
Good choice.
Local, up the road.
That's it.
3 mile up the road.
So you joined Rangers August 1966. What was it like going to a club the size of Glasgow Rangers?
Oh, what's this? You're in the big time, a big city club. Aye, that is.
How did you cope with that jump from Dunfermline to Rangers?
Aye. Well, I ended up not very successful there, 2 or 3 years, just because Celtic was a kingpins. And in Glasgow, if you were the second rate, it's a hard time.
Did you still stay in Fife at this point? Were you just commuting through to Glasgow? So you could have stayed.
I stayed in Diggs. Stayed in Diggs in Glasgow.
So you made 68 appearances for Rangers, 26 goals.
68.
68. There's one result I was going to mention in 67, the famous defeat to Berwick Rangers.
Oh, yeah, lad, that's right. Aye, my God. Well, that's a stain on the character there. Aye, my God, that's terrible. The resources Rangers got, and getting beat by Berwick, aye. Oh, so you have to take all that on the chin, haven't you? You talking about winning cups and that, and then you get hit with part of a team that played against Berwick Rangers.
And who was your teammates at Rangers at this point? Jim
That
Baxter would have
time-
been there, eh?
No, Jim was away. He left to go to Sunderland.
I think it was Sunderland, yeah.
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 And then he came back, and that was away.
Right.
Aye,
So you missed him.
aye.
That debut season for you, though, 67. You mentioned
Was
it.
that?
Season 66, 67.
Aye.
You played in the European Cup Winners' Cup final
Oh, that's right.
against Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich. Aye.
So what do you remember about that one?
Just,
You mentioned Beckenbauer.
I just mind saying that, if I got connected with a couple of shots instead of, I would have been immortal.
Yeah.
Winning the European Cup. There you are, and they beat us.
Was it 1-0, I think,
Was
in the
it?
final?
Aye.
That season, though, you were the club's top goal scorer. You had 23 goals in 55 games. So you said earlier you didn't score many goals, but your record's pretty good.
I know. I played up front quite a bit. Oh, it wasn't for the middle of the park. I was playing up front.
And what about Alex Ferguson? He was a teammate when you were at Dunfermline and then joined you at Rangers.
He came to Ibrox.
What's your memories of Fergie as a player?
I always thought he was going to do something in football. Had that wee bit, the Glaswegians there, got a wee bit, bite a bit of them. No, they're wholehearted. Aye, Alec did well. A poacher, very good. He's good.
Scored some amount of goals, didn't he?
He did. Aye.
Who was the best player at Rangers, would you say, when you were there?
Oh, sure, lad. The two wingers were good. Willie Johnson and Willie Henderson.
Right.
Yeah.
Quick.
Ah.
I bet you didn't like training against the boys, did you?
Oh, that's right. I ran away for you.
You leave Rangers in 1969 and you go up north and join Eddie Turnbull at Aberdeen, but you just played one game up there.
That's right.
What happened up at Aberdeen?
Oh, that was a bit disaster then. Aye. So Eddie had me in the team. So for one game. Aye.
Just one game.
Aye.
What was the reason? Were you getting a lot of injuries at this point in your career?
No, it's just probably the game was going away from me, the pace of the game. So Eddie put me in with the younger lads and the reserves, which I enjoyed, the up-and-coming young lads Aberdeen had at that time. Good.
And they went on to be pretty successful that decade after that, didn't they?
Aye, there was always a possibility of Aberdeen being a successful club because of the size of the town.
So it was a short stay in Aberdeen.
2 years.
2 years.
Aye.
And what did you do after Aberdeen? Was that you retired?
Came here.
Is that when you opened the pub?
Aye.
Nice. So you retired, you go into the pub game. So how did you get into...
Oh, I was a rep for a wine and spirit club.
Right.
That's what got me into the drink industry. I had to apply for a job after Aberdeen.
So you got into the pub game by being a rep?
I did.
And then did the opportunity come up to take this pub where we are today?
I asked a local boy. I was staying in Aberdeen at that time. I was doing up the islands, Orkney, Shetland and all that. And I asked a local boy if there was any places in Fife for sale, and they cottoned on to this one.
Brilliant.
So I got a transfer then to Fife.
Back home.
Full circle. Aye.
And what was it like running a pub for all the years? Some great stories, I'm sure. Met some great people.
Aye. A nice crowd. Aye. It's not as if it was a city pub or anything like that. You got to know everybody. And aye.
Some good memories. Brilliant. Rounding up, going back to football. How would you sum up your career in football?
I was satisfied, and it was a pleasure to play football. Always, as a laddie, wanted to play football, so achieved all that without being medals. And
Well, you got a Scottish Cup winners medal.
a Scottish Cup winners medal. And to play in these countries and against some great players. Great. Aye.
Brilliant, Alex. Well, thanks very much for your time. It's been great catching up.
Aye.
Thanks for listening to Walking Down the Holbeath Road. And a big thank you to our guest, Alex Smith, for sharing his stories and insights. And thank you to you, all of our listeners, for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to this episode on your favourite listening platform. If you have a question or a suggestion for a future episode, we would love to hear from you. Just drop us an email at fpa@dafc.co.uk. This podcast was produced by Jan Motkiewicz and music supplied by Stuart Dusty Miller. Thank you once again for listening, and we look forward to walking down the Holbeath Road again next month. Thank you.